Tonight, did Hillary Clinton sell secrets to the Chinese through her private email server while CrowdStrike managed the whole thing? Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. For those of you who don't know, every episode starts the same way. I say thank you to all my subscribers because there's always new subscribers, and I'm very thankful. If you haven't already, please come hit the big red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications to be notified when these videos get posted. Today we're going to start with a couple articles that Q posts, and if you guys want to get caught up to where we're at watching the last few posts and get caught up to that, I encourage you to come back here, watch these last few videos, watch this one in particular. It'll get you caught up to at least where we are now. And if you're scratching your head going, what's QAnon? Please watch this video. And also, it's a great source to get information on how to follow Q, what Q is, all that kind of stuff. And then you can also share this video. That makes a big difference if you want to get your family, friends, whoever woken up or awakened to what is going on. So that is something you can do. Now we're going to start right here with these first two posts. First, it's a Fox News article here that talks about Chinese company reportedly hacked Clinton's server and got a copy of email in real time, meaning that somebody hacked Hillary Clinton's emails, and then they were able, a state-owned company was actually reportedly had hacked Hillary Clinton's email server, and then inserted a code so that it forwarded them a copy of virtually every email she sent or received after that. Can you imagine the kind of information that they would have been able to get off of that email? So the article goes on to basically explain how this is a finding that was sourced out of different areas, and that the code was reportedly discovered in 2015 by the Intelligence Community Inspector General, who was so worried by this, actually drove to the FBI and told Peter Strzok face to face of the development after it happened. Yet nothing happened and nobody did anything, of course, because that's what the world we live in today, where, you know, it's like you can be a criminal and nobody cares, I guess, if you're the right kind of criminal in the right kind of politics. So here we go. This is an article that Q puts with this other article, the Fox News article we just looked at, talking about Congressman Nunes, and he sought a meeting with UK spy chiefs in London. Now, this reads kind of like a hit piece on Devin Nunes, basically saying that he went over there to London, I guess, and tried to set up a meeting with the heads of MI5, MI6, and GCHQ, and they never actually got around to having that meeting. And basically, it's so weird to read this story because it writes it says things in ways that make it sound like Nunes was over there in London trying to get dirt on President Trump's political rivals, when in reality, he's a congressman who would want to ask questions about the illegal nature of the spying that was going on, how a former spy, Christopher Steele, was able to actually put together this fake dossier and then somehow get it into the U.S. government, and then they use that as an excuse to spy on President Trump's campaign and him after he was elected. So this is just a really ridiculous story. But I think it just points out what the fake news is doing right now. They're trying to put this all together to say, oh, well, you know, no. Steele is fine. It's the Devin Nunes going over to London who wants to have a meeting that you need to worry about, right? I think that's the way I read it. If you guys have a different take, please leave your thoughts down in the comments. And the next one is Q responding to himself. Q gives us this article, which basically lays out the fact that there were, in 2010, there were around 18 to 20 CIA assets in China who were discovered by the Chinese government and either imprisoned or killed. The question is really, how did they get that information? And what's being alleged by Q, basically, as I've written about here over on justinformednews.com, again, that's justinformednews.com if you guys want to come check out this latest article I just posted, it's asking the very important question: was Hillary involved with the transfer of that information to China? And then subsequently, did American assets lose their lives based on that leaking of information and allegedly selling this information through the Clinton Foundation and with the help of CrowdStrike? So you can read this article if you want to get a better idea of that. But basically, it gives us this New York Times article that we've talked about, and it says, starting in 2010, HRC Secretary of State 2009-2013, coincidence, think server access, granted, money talks, CrowdStrike, Q. So this is something that we've been talking about, and if you read the article I put up, I kind of just connect a lot of these dots, basically, that Q's pointing us to connect. And it's asking this very important question. Did Hillary Clinton use a private email server and store classified information on that private email server so that she could sell that information to foreign actors who contribute donations to the Clinton Foundation? And was that arrangement basically ran by CrowdStrike, to where CrowdStrike, this IT company, IT firm who goes in and analyzes the DNC servers and never really makes any of their findings like publicly available, and just works in a lot of dark secret, or they don't make the real findings probably available, I would say, but we have to really wait and see on that. But did they work as the go-between to say, okay, once they saw the funds posted to the Clinton Foundation accounts, then they drop the firewall on the server, Chinese walk in, grab whatever they want, boom, firewall's back up, nobody else. And it's how you regulate that access, right? That's how you would sell the access, because having her, it's a convenient story that they just came out with about Hillary's email was hacked by the Chinese, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense as to why people in government knew about it and nobody did anything. Right? Nobody said anything other than to bring it to certain people's attentions, and then it never came out publicly really at all. And this is basically the insinuation Q's making, but I'll let you draw your own conclusions. So in the next one here, it's Q left out the R in server. Q says error not intended right here. It's server should be sever should be server. Missed the R. Q said it wasn't on purpose, so it's something we should probably just glance over. Now, the next thing is interesting. Q says nothing to see here, and he gives a screenshot of when you type QAnon into the Google search. And it's funny because I used to do that. When I would do it, I hit the video channel button, and all my videos would pop up almost in the first or second page. And now that the mainstream media has gone after it and Google's fixed their little algorithms, it's like you can't even find a video from me when you type QAnon in. So it is what it is. But I just thought that was interesting. Q's telling us, I think, he's pointing us to the fact there's 3.8 million results in 30.32 seconds about QAnon from Google. So nothing to see there, guys. Now, the next one is this. You all remember this right here. This is the post from Q a while ago talking about who is where and what, within the Department of Justice and the FBI. Is it gives you a list of all these people: James Baker, Lisa Page, Mike Cortan, Josh Campbell, David Laufman, John P. Carlin, Sally Yates, Mary McCord, all of these people, and it gives you their status, whether they're fired, whether they're cooperating, whether they were forced out. And what's very interesting to note is that Q's telling us to look at something very interesting. It says, did you notice a pattern? And what would that pattern be? Well, the pattern is this. Look, 5/4/18. You have this Bruce Orr demoted twice. It's giving us this post that Q gave us before, right? And it's saying that these people who he said were cooperating witnesses have all been called to testify. Bruce Orr, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and now he's alluding to the fact that Bill Priestap and Michael Cortan will be the next to be called to basically testify in front of Congress, and we can look forward to that. It says, who are they cooperating with? Well, the suggestion would be that they're basically cooperating with John Huber and Michael Horowitz, and in those investigations into the Clinton server, Obama administration spying, all of that stuff, right? And it says, do you believe in coincidences? The more you know, Q. So I don't believe in coincidences anymore. After following this for long enough, I really have stopped believing that there are really coincidences when it comes to this kind of stuff, because Q gives us these little hints. And if Bill Priestap and Mike Cortan end up testifying within the next few months or a few weeks, whatever, then that'll just be another confirmation of Q as I see it. So I'll leave that for you guys as well to check out. Now, the next one's kind of interesting. It's Q responding to his own post, the one we just read over, and it says, notice those stated as cooperating are called before the House to provide testimony. 2 remaining. Enjoy the show. And that's what I just went over, that Mike Cortan and Bill Priestap will be the next 2 to be called in front of the Congress to testify, and it will be very interesting. Now, the next post here is this, basically an anon posting this story, and Paul Sperry, who former DC bureau chief for Investors Business Daily, actually puts these little tweets out, right? And it says, Mueller hasn't interviewed Bruce Orr, but apparently John Huber hasn't either. Even though Huber was tapped by Sessions to investigate the FISA abuses, more reason to wonder how effective a U.S. attorney can be cleaning up corruption in Washington when he's based in Salt Lake City. And then Sperry goes on to say, more and more Mueller's investigation into Russia collusion appears to be designed not to protect the country, but to protect his former FBI DOJ regime and their political espionage crimes. He has to find something, anything, to justify their crimes. Now, then it goes into this cutout of a part of a report from the Gateway Pundit, right? And it was kind of basing, I guess, its article off of this. And so we'll read it and we'll look at the article in a second. But it's a special prosecutor tapped by Sessions to investigate FISA abuses has not interviewed Bruce Orr. In March, Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced he would not be appointing a second special counsel to investigate crimes committed by Obama's FBI and DOJ. Rather, Attorney General Sessions revealed U.S. Attorney John Huber will be the top federal prosecutor who will be investigating FISA abuses. U.S. Attorney John Huber was first appointed to his position by Barack Obama in 2015. 5 months into John Huber's FISA abuse investigation, and he still has not interviewed twice demoted DOJ official Bruce Orr. Orr is a key player in the FISA abuse scandal, so why hasn't he been interviewed by Huber or Mueller? Bruce Orr was acting as a back channel for dossier author Christopher Steele after the FBI terminated him in November of 2016 for breaking protocol by leaking to the media. It says, quote, more of a reason to wonder how effective a U.S. attorney John Huber can be cleaning up the corruption in Washington when he's based in Salt Lake City. And this is from an investigative reporter, Paul Sperry, this guy we just looked at the tweets from. It says investigative reporter John Solomon also revealed Tuesday that Robert Mueller hasn't interviewed Bruce Orr yet either. Bruce Orr arrived at Capitol Hill Tuesday morning for a closed-door grilling from House Oversight and House Judiciary members over his contacts with dossier author Christopher Steele. GOP lawmakers said Tuesday afternoon that Bruce Orr was being cooperative and answering questions at the closed-door deposition. Bruce Orr, former FBI lawyer Lisa Page, and Fusion GPS co-founder Glenn Simpson may be called back to testify together to iron out the discrepancies in their testimonies. What exactly is Mueller and Huber doing if they are not questioning key players like Bruce Orr? Mueller's investigation into Russian collusion appears to be designed not to protect the country, but to protect his former FBI DOJ regime and their political espionage crimes, says Sperry. Okay, so, and then this is the article itself. It's written by this Christina Laila, whatever. And, I honestly, reading through that and reading through the article, it's not exactly what you would think. It's misleading, and that's what Q says. So this is what Q says about this article. Q asks, or says, logical thinking. How did this fake, misleading story pop up? And it gives us this Hannity reference. Now, the YouTube is a broken link here, but the next post, Q actually gives us the link to the actual Hannity show last night. And it gives us these timestamps in Hannity's show where you actually have, John Ratcliffe, John Ratcliffe, the Texas congressman, saying that he wants Huber to contact his office regarding Bruce Orr documents, right? And then there's other parts in the show where it says that it was just learned that Bruce Orr was not interviewed by Huber, and it was based on comments from the 2450 and statements made by one congressman who does not know if Huber has already interviewed Bruce Orr. And that's basically what Q is saying, is that it was a statement made by one congressman who doesn't know if he's been interviewed by Bruce Orr. But then it says, see how fake news works, see how fake news works, see how clickbait works, see how emotional pushes to targeted readers works. Q. And what that's saying is they took this little reference to a congressman not knowing that Bruce Orr whether or not Bruce Orr had been interviewed by John Huber, and they turn it into this big story, and then they push it as, oh, well, not only has Mueller not done it, but then Bruce Orr hasn't been interviewed by John Huber. So the main takeaway from here is basically that if you look at it in connection with what happened on Hannity last night, and then they make this fake news story, and then they try to mislead you, and it's all about clickbait, fake news, whatever. That's what the system is. That's what Q is trying to combat right now, because, and I guess the Gateway Pundit wouldn't be the best example maybe for every instance, because they do some decent reporting here and there. But the reality is that it's rampant, and it's throughout all of the media. And at this point, this story needs to be nipped in the bud because look, Q's saying it's not real. What the reality is that Bruce Orr has been interviewed several times, not only by the Hussein administration. They've had many filed 302s against him while he was working for Hussein's FBI, but then also under Trump, President Trump. So, and James Comey, and then the IG, and yeah. So there's a lot of people who are involved in those interviews. Now here's Q posting a link to the timestamps that were in that last post here. These timestamps, they don't necessarily line up with the video that was provided, but you can find the information in there where we went over it. If you guys want to, just watch yesterday's video that I made where we actually watched a section of Hannity to clarify what the congressman said from Texas about John Huber. So the next one here gives us these two links, right? Basically one link and then an archive. And in that, you can actually see Q points us to footnote 5 of this document, which we read before is the Grassley letter to the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General and to Michael Horowitz. Now, what Q wants us to read here is actually this footnote. The footnote is number 5 in the second document here, I believe. So yeah, here it is, and it's exactly what Q posted here. Is he copied and pasted almost these exact things, where it's talking about the 302s that were filed and the interview dates when Bruce Orr was being interviewed. So you have 4 interviews with the Hussein FBI before President Trump took office. Then after, you have 3 more with James Comey ran FBI under President Trump. Then you have interviews that came with James Comey and the Inspector General. And the last interview date, which was Bruce Orr's 5, not the last one, but the last one before James Comey was fired, was actually the day prior to James Comey firing. Bruce Orr was brought in for an interview with the president of the president of the United States FBI agents, and then Rod Rosenstein's put here in the metaphorical brackets kill box, so maybe he's the next one to go probably. But it says Orr is 302s, then all the way go into the Inspector General all the way up to May, and Q tells us there's meetings not yet released. So there's 7 more meetings or interviews that have not been even released or talked about. But we have Bruce Orr being interviewed by the Inspector General going all the way up to May 15, 2017. And Huber is working with the Inspector General, Michael Horowitz. So it's just a lie to think that, Orr hasn't been interviewed by, John Huber. Well, if John Huber is working with 470 investigators and Michael Horowitz, I would say that if Michael Horowitz is investigating and interviewing Bruce Orr, then it would only make sense that Huber would have access to that same information. So it's just another failed attempt at fake news, and I really think it's important that we keep pointing that out. Now the next one is an interesting one. It says, "Shall we play a game?" And it gives this DNI.gov basically link. And who is this? This is a person named Tonya Ugoretz. And who is Tonya Ugoretz? Or Tanya, excuse me. Tonya. Tanya Ugoretz. And here it is. It talks about how from 2018 to 2012, she was the unit chief and then section chief in the Senior Executive Service. We know with the SES, the Senior Executive Service, the untouchables in Washington, the presidents, the elite who cannot be removed from their positions anyway. It says Miss Ugoretz oversaw intelligence products and briefings for the FBI director and the attorney general, as well as FBI analyst contributions to the president's daily briefing or daily brief. As chief intelligence officer from 2010 to 2012, she also led the bureau's cadre of senior national intelligence officers in the creation of a 24/7 intelligence watch. Well, it looks like under her tenure, a lot of stuff hit the fan. And maybe she was a victim, maybe she was a willing participant. But either way, looking back at the disaster of a administration and disaster of the administration of that, that's what we have to attribute to is people like her. But what's more important, I think, Q's telling us to look at is it gives us that little part that we just said where she oversees the presidential daily briefings or daily brief from the FBI director and the attorney general. And it says, who discovered the Chinese link to HRC servers? in servers. I love how Q puts the little S on the end there because there are more than one that are connected, I think. It says, who reported the discovery? Who inserted this discovery or the discovery into the president's daily briefing? Paper trail, Q. So I'm going to ask the question, did Miss Ugaritz insert into President Obama's daily brief that the Chinese had hacked Hillary Clinton's servers? And is that the paper trail that proves that they had knowledge this was going on, yet they did nothing to stop it? Is that fair? Or they denied that it happened when they knew in reality that it did? That's the question I have. So is that the case? Did Miss Ugaritz oversee the insertion of direct knowledge and information in the president's daily briefing under the Obama administration that informed President Obama that Hillary Clinton's email servers had been hacked and that information had been stolen, and they chose not to do anything about it? And even furthermore, did they allow her to remain in office without any reprimand or disciplinary action for her careless, reckless negligence or criminal or criminal intent to sell the information to the Chinese? Why was there no investigation? Why is there's so many questions that need to be asked and answered here. And this is the paper trail. And, Q says paper trail. They have it all. So I bet you the people who, did all this are watching these videos or watching these posts and going, oh my gosh, how did they know? Oh, they're probably shaking in their little boots. And you know what? Rightfully so. If you're a traitor to this country, you're going to get discovered. You're going to have the law applied to you and you're going to face trial. And, that is a promise. That is what we are going to do here. That is what this whole movement is about. It's about bringing people to justice who have basically sold our country out. And that's what this is all saying. So you guys let me know. Do more research on this, Tanya Ugaritz, and we'll get back to this. I'm sure we're going to circle back to all of these things as we always do with Q, because everything we talk about here becomes news about a couple weeks, couple days, couple months from now. So the last two is this Daily Caller article talking about Representative Congressman Gomer from Texas, who said that a watchdog found Clinton emails were sent to foreign entity. Okay, and it's, I don't even know what to say besides when you connect it with the other article that Q points us to. It says Chinese hackers stole sensitive data on U.S. Navy submarine weaponry, report says. And this is very, very bad. It says a series of cyber attacks sponsored by Chinese government hackers earlier this year infiltrated the computers of U.S. Navy contractor, allowing a large amount of highly sensitive data on undersea warfare to reportedly be stolen. And to me, this whole article basically lays out the fact that there's a very high possibility that our country was basically sold out to the highest bidder and that they were granted access to all of these top secret informations and or all of this top secret information. And the reality is that we've been sold to the Chinese, okay, and the Russians, and pretty much anybody who wanted to donate to the Hillary Clinton campaign, the Muslim Brotherhood, the Pakistani intelligence. It seems that pretty much any of our major allies or enemies in the world, presumably, have been able to buy access to secret classified information, and they've basically, for me, it's just so difficult to not get upset. Suffice it to say that this is treasonous. They call President Trump, they say, oh yeah, he's treasonous. Well, no. Having a glass of Russian vodka or having some Russian dressing on, because President Trump doesn't drink, having some Russian dressing on your salad doesn't make you a Russian, agent. But selling access to classified information, that makes you treasonous. And that makes you an agent of a foreign power, basically. So to me, I don't know. You guys let me know what you think down in the comments, of course. And with that being said, I want to say thank you all for watching. And hey, so a couple things. If you're looking to help out the channel, the best way to do it is come here to the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That's the best way. Second best way is to spread these links, share this information, get it out there. I really appreciate that. Now, another great way is to scroll down at the end of this video and leave your thoughts, theories, and insights in the comments, because like I say, at the end of each one of these videos, we try to have our own QAnon research board. We don't just talk about, Q posts. We talk about everything. We talk about politics, culture, media, religion, all of that. You guys can get down there, have a great conversation. There's so many smart people, so many thoughtful insights, and I guarantee you, even if you can't comment, you're going to learn something that you didn't know previous to watching this video. That being said, I also want to encourage you all to come over here and find me at justinformednews.com, where I'll give you even more content. So not just the videos where I go and do my talks, but then also we'll have these articles that I'll write, and I'll try to keep posting content every day and keep this fresh. And hopefully the idea is to grow this into a larger site that we can just report the news every day. But it's going to take you guys supporting it by coming over and seeing it. And that is, of course, reading this latest article would be a great way to do that, because this article actually details a lot of what we went over today, but some people prefer to read it. I don't know, whatever you like, whatever helps you get the information, and then you can share this, spread this article out there. I really appreciate that. So again, come to justinformednews.com. And again, guys, this is in the beta, so you see the website's changing quite frequently. And right now you can probably tell I have no advertising, no nothing. So there's no monetization here yet. It is literally just a beta website. It is for you guys to come use. It's for your benefit to come and get information that I think is important. So to our movement to the truth and to getting the facts out there, to countering the mainstream media narrative. So that's a great way to help out. Another great way to help out is to come over here and find me on Twitter at Justin_formed. When you come over here, you can find me on Twitter at Justin_formed. Give me a follow, click the follow button, and you can get all the information here. Because the great thing about the Twitter feed is that, I post tweets, and I get my thoughts out there, but then also I post the articles from justinformednews.com, and I post the videos from YouTube. They automatically get posted here, so it's just a great resource to get notified when information is being posted, if you want to stay up to date and keep up with everything that's coming your way. So that's a great way to help, and I really appreciate it. Now, another great way to help, and this is a great way if you can help out financially, you can come over here to Patreon. That's patreon.com. And when you come over here, you can go to patreon.com/justinformedtalk, or you can go to patreon.com and just search justinformedtalk. Either way, you'll come to this page. When you get here, click this button to become a patron. It's a monthly donation. I can't tell you guys how much I depend on you guys to make sure that I can keep doing this every single day. And it's only through your generosity and your donations that this channel is able to go 24/7, 365, and I can do this full time every day. I probably work 12 plus hours a day, but that's okay, because it's a labor of love, and I love bringing the information to you guys and sharing it with. And another great way you can help out financially is if you want to make an anonymous one-time donation and you're not into the Patreon with the monthly donation and having to get involved, sign up and everything, you can come here to GoFundMe. It's gofundme.com/just-informed. Again, gofundme.com/just-informed. When you come here, just click this button, make an anonymous one-time donation. I really appreciate it, and I'm thankful to each and every one of you who come over here and contribute and help the channel out that way. Now, that being said, I have a great verse I want to share with you guys today. I mean, just so beautiful. And it talks about what's the diversity of spiritual gifts. And this is from 1 Corinthians. And it's such a profound message. And it talks about how we're all given these different gifts and these different talents and these different abilities. And it's all through God. And that is what is so important, is that's our common bond. That's how we come together. Because maybe I'm a little bit better at, speaking, but some other people may be better at talking, and some people, at writing, or some people may be better at just working and doing a great job at what they do. Whatever it is, you have a talent that's been given to you by God, and the talent that we all share, or the commonality that we all share with those talents and gifts and abilities that we've been given, is our connection to God. So I want to read this to you. It is 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 4 through 11. And it's just, what an amazingly beautiful piece of scripture here. It says, "Now there are different gifts, but the same Spirit. There are different ministries, but the same Lord. And there are different activities, but the same God is active in everyone and everything. A manifestation of the Spirit is given to each person to produce what is beneficial. To one is given a message of wisdom through the Spirit. To another, a message of knowledge by the same Spirit. To another, faith by the same Spirit. To another, gifts of healing by the one Spirit. To another, performing of miracles. To another, prophecy. To another, distinguishing between spirits. To another, different kinds of languages. To another, interpretation of languages. But one and the same Spirit is active in all these, distributing to each one as He wills." And that to me is like, that's just, I mean, it's so powerful. What it's saying is, look, we all have different gifts. We all have different talents. We all have different abilities. But what we share is this commonality that the Spirit of God comes into our lives and gives us these little, whether it's giving us knowledge or giving us wisdom or giving us faith or giving us, the ability to perform miracles or to be prophetic or to be able to know different kinds of languages and interpret different kinds of languages. These things are gifts given by God, and we have to use them for God. And I think that's what the point of this is that though we have a diversity of spiritual gifts that we receive from the Spirit of God, those gifts need to be used to honor God, to put God first, to put His name on high, and to live your life in reverence of His glory, in humble servitude to the Lord, because that is the key to having a successful life. Because material wealth, what we gain here on earth, the conversations that we may have that really don't really have any meaning about politics or all that. I mean, they have meaning to us here in the now, but the ability to look past what's here on earth into what is in the next life and what we're going to work for every day and how we're going to live our life by God in order to become saved through the sacrifice that God was willing to make when He let His Son, allowed Jesus to die on the cross for our sins, so that we may have eternal life in heaven through simply repenting and following God and becoming closer to the power of God. So, I really know that there's a lot of people out there who have their own thoughts. Maybe you're a different, religion, maybe you read a different Bible, maybe you interpret something a different way. That doesn't mean that we cannot share and come together knowing that the gifts that we have come from the same Spirit of God that exists. So I want this to be like a unifying message to say, you have these great talents and you had these great gifts, and each one of us has different gifts, but then the commonality, the common bond, what brings us together, what makes us stronger is our belief in God and our being given these gifts by God. So that's going to be it for me. I want to say thank you for watching this episode of Just Informed Talk. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, now's a great time to do it. Also, please check out justinformednews.com. It's a great way to help out the movement and give me feedback on what you think of the website, how I can improve it, because it's a work in progress, but I'm going to be contributing every day, hopefully, to it, and you guys will be able to go there and get the information no matter what. So, that being said, though, again, I want to say thank you for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed, and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.